Welcome to Deep Dive. Welcome. We're thrilled to have you here. Let's dive in and grow together.
Hey everyone, welcome back. Today we're doing a deep dive
Ooh, deep dive.
into Tony Fadell's book,
Yes.
Build, an Unorthodox Guide to Making Things Worth Making.
I love this book.
Oh, it's so good.
Yeah.
And it's part memoir, part leadership guide.
Mm-hmm.
And it's totally packed with behind-the-scenes stories
Oh,
from
yeah,
the
yeah.
creation of the iPod, iPhone, and Nest.
Just little things.
Yeah, little things you might have heard of.
Right, right.
But what makes this book really special is that it's not just about tech.
Exactly.
It's about the mindset
Yes.
and the principles
Mm-hmm.
behind building anything great,
Anything.
whether it's a product, a company,
Yeah,
or even just a really killer presentation for work.
that's right. Fadell takes us through his journey, but he doesn't just recount the events.
Right.
He really digs into the why behind his decisions,
Yeah.
the lessons he learned, the things he would have done differently.
Right from the start, you can tell this guy's a doer.
Oh, yeah.
He was starting companies
Mm.
and taking risks in his early 20s.
You're so young.
Even became a CEO at 21.
Wow.
I mean, talk about diving headfirst into the deep end.
Yeah.
I was still trying to figure out how to do laundry back then.
But what's interesting is that he's not afraid to talk about his failures.
Right.
In fact, he embraces them.
He does.
Fadell argues that your 20s are the perfect time to experiment, to
Yeah.
watch things blow up, and most importantly, to learn from those explosions.
I love that.
Yeah.
He even worked at this super secretive company called General Magic,
Oh, I've heard of them.
which was basically a breeding ground for tech talent.
Oh, for sure.
Ex-Apple geniuses everywhere.
It was like a who's who of tech.
Yeah, and they were trying to build what they thought was the future of personal communication,
Mm-hmm.
but it didn't quite pan out the way they expected.
And that's where one of the book's core messages comes in.
Okay,
The importance of looking beyond your immediate role.
I see.
Fadell was so focused on his engineering work at General Magic that he missed crucial insights from other departments,
Interesting.
especially marketing.
Oh, marketing.
You got to talk to the marketing folks.
Yeah, there's this great story where he's chatting with a colleague in marketing,
Uh-huh.
and she asks him some basic questions about their product's target audience.
Okay.
And he realizes he has no clue.
Oh, no.
He was so deep in the technical weeds that he hadn't stopped to consider who they were actually building this thing for.
It's a wake-up call for anyone, really, no
Right.
matter what you do.
Yeah.
Understanding different perspectives, especially those closest to your end user or customer, is crucial.
Absolutely.
It can mean the difference between a product that flops and one that becomes a global phenomenon.
So true.
And speaking of global phenomena, that's where Fadell's journey takes us next to the creation of the iPod and iPhone at Apple. You know, those tiny devices that revolutionize how we listen to music and communicate.
And you wouldn't believe it, but he was initially pretty skeptical about the whole iPod thing. Yeah, because it's hard to imagine a world before these little music players were everywhere.
Totally. But Fadell makes a fascinating point about how deadlines, even when they feel stressful, can actually be your best friend.
Oh, interesting.
He argues that they force you to focus and make tough choices, which ultimately leads to a more innovative and refined product, and that was definitely the case with the iPod. The team was under intense pressure, working crazy hours to meet those tight deadlines.
And they pulled it off. But what's really interesting is that the iPod wasn't initially meant to be this standalone, world-dominating device.
Oh, really?
It was actually supposed to be a way to sell more Macs. They
Wow.
even resisted opening it up to PCs at first.
Right, but they eventually realized that to truly succeed, they had to adapt to the market, even if it meant deviating from their original vision.
It's a great example of balancing long-term goals with the need to be flexible and responsive in the short term. Then comes the iPhone, and you can almost hear Fadell saying, okay, we just changed the music industry. What's next? Oh, I know. Let's reinvent the phone while we're at it.
Uh-huh. I love that.
But just like with the iPod, there was pushback, a phone without a keyboard. That seemed crazy at the time.
Exactly. And this goes back to another key takeaway from the book: disrupt yourself before someone else does. Fadell argues that even when you're at the top of your game, you need to be willing to challenge your own assumptions and push beyond what's considered normal.
Right.
Otherwise, someone else will come along and do it for you, and you'll be left playing catch-up.
So after conquering the world of music players and smartphones, Fadell took on a completely different challenge,
Okay.
starting his own company, Nest. And this time he decided to focus on something seemingly mundane, the thermostat.
The thermostat.
Yeah.
Interesting. It's not about the product itself, though.
Right.
It's about identifying a need and opportunity where others see only the ordinary. Fadell saw that the humble thermostat was something people interacted with every day, but it hadn't really changed in decades.
Yeah.
It was ripe for innovation.
I love that he wasn't afraid to tackle something that wasn't necessarily considered sexy or cutting edge.
Yeah.
It shows that you can find opportunities for innovation anywhere, even in the most unexpected places.
Absolutely. And the Nest journey wasn't without its bumps in the road.
Oh.
They had a pretty serious crisis with the Nest Protect smoke detector.
Oh, no.
A fatal wave to hush that actually ended up being a safety hazard.
Yikes, that sounds like a nightmare scenario.
Oh.
I can't imagine the stress they must have been under trying to manage that situation.
But even in moments of crisis, Fadell emphasizes the importance of transparency and clear communication. He doesn't shy away from admitting his mistakes, and he talks about the need to seek external advice when you're in over your head. He even brought in a former Navy pilot who specialized in crisis management to help them navigate the situation.
Wow, bringing in a Navy pilot that's thinking outside the box.
And it worked. They were able to resolve the issue and regain the trust of their customers.
That's great.
It's a powerful reminder that even the most successful companies make mistakes, but it's how you respond to those mistakes that really defines you.
And of course, no discussion of Tony Fadell would be complete without mentioning the Google acquisition of Nest.
Right.
It seemed like the perfect match, but things didn't exactly go as planned, did they?
Well, it started out great, but there were definitely some challenges along the way, especially when it came to cultural differences and conflicting priorities. It's a reminder that even the most promising partnerships can face unexpected hurdles.
Fadell is pretty candid about the difficulties he faced at Google, the clash of cultures, and the eventual sale of Nest.
And he doesn't sugarcoat it. He talks about the importance of really doing your homework before entering into any major partnership or acquisition. It's not just about the financials. It's about ensuring that your values and visions align as well.
It sounds like a valuable lesson, especially for anyone thinking about joining forces with a larger company. Merging two different cultures can be incredibly complex.
Definitely. It's something to consider very carefully. But even with the challenges he faced at Google, Fadell's overall message is one of optimism and possibility.
He really believes in the power of people to create amazing things, and he wants to inspire others to pursue their own ambitious goals.
He stresses the importance of having a clear vision, building a strong team, and being relentless in your pursuit of excellence.
And he walks the walk throughout the book. He shares practical tips and advice on everything from hiring and managing teams to navigating the legal landscape and building a strong company culture.
He even offers insights into seemingly mundane tasks, like designing a closet, using it as an example of how design thinking principles can be applied to any problem.
It sounds like this book is packed with valuable information, not just for entrepreneurs or tech folks, but for anyone who wants to make a difference in the world.
Yeah.
It really does feel like a blueprint for building something meaningful.
Exactly. And one of the things Fadell emphasizes is that it's not about being a genius
Right.
or having some special talent. It's about putting in the work, being persistent, and never giving up on your dreams.
I think that's what makes his story so inspiring.
Yeah.
He's not this untouchable tech wizard. He's a regular guy who's passionate about making things better. And he's willing to put in the effort to make it happen.
And he's not afraid to get his hands dirty.
Yeah, he talks about the importance of eating your own dog food,
Right.
which means using your own products and really understanding the customer experience firsthand.
Exactly.
It's about being in the trenches with your team, not just sitting in an ivory tower making decisions.
He also has some really interesting thoughts about the whole work-life balance thing.
Oh, yeah?
He's a self-proclaimed workaholic,
Yeah.
but even he admits that it's important to take breaks,
Yeah,
to let your mind wander, and to find ways to recharge.
I like that.
He talks about going on these epic bike rides
Oh, cool.
to clear his head and come back with fresh perspectives.
Yeah, it's so easy to get caught up in the hustle
It is.
and forget to take care of ourselves. But Fadell's point is that you can't pour from an empty cup.
So true.
You need to make time for the things that bring you joy and energy
Right.
so you can show up as your best self in all areas of your life.
And that leads us to one of the most powerful messages in the book,
Okay.
the importance of caring.
Caring.
Yeah, Fadell cares deeply about his work, his team, and the impact his products have on the world.
I see.
And he argues that caring is essential for building anything truly great.
That makes sense.
It's about going the extra mile, sweating the details, and never settling for mediocrity.
He also talks about the importance of building a company culture that values excellence,
Yes.
encourages risk-taking, and fosters a sense of shared purpose.
Absolutely. He believes that creating a positive and supportive work environment is crucial for attracting and retaining top talent and ultimately for achieving long-term success.
And he even has some strong opinions about perks.
Oh, yeah.
He thinks that showering employees with freebies can actually be detrimental to their morale and the company's bottom line.
Really?
He argues that perks should be occasional treats,
Yeah, I see.
not expected entitlements,
Right.
and that a truly great company culture is built on something more substantial than free food and massages.
So true. He's all about fostering a culture of ownership and accountability where everyone feels like they're a part of something bigger than themselves.
He doesn't shy away from the tough stuff.
Right.
He talks about the importance of making difficult decisions,
Yeah.
even when they're unpopular.
Mhm.
And he emphasizes the need for leaders to be transparent and communicative, even in the face of adversity.
He also stresses the importance of learning from your mistakes and being resilient in the face of setbacks. He believes that failure is an inevitable part of the journey,
Yeah.
but it's how you respond to those failures that defines you.
So what does this all mean for you?
That's a good question.
What's resonating with you as we've gone through these incredible insights from Tony Fadell?
I think the biggest takeaway is that this book isn't just for entrepreneurs or techies. It's for anyone who wants to build something meaningful,
Yeah.
whether it's a product, a company, a relationship, or even just a better version of themselves.
It's a reminder that we all have the potential to make a difference in the world.
Absolutely.
And that the journey, with all its challenges and triumphs, is what makes it all worthwhile.
If you're feeling inspired to take on a new challenge, to build something amazing,
Yeah.
I highly encourage you to check out Build. It's full of wisdom and practical advice that can help you on your own journey of making things worth making.
It's a book that will stay with you long after you finish reading it, and it might just spark something incredible within you.
Totally agree.
So keep learning
Keep building.
and keep diving deep.